This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Like Carolyn had mentioned, if you wouldn't mind ensuring that you are muted at this point, we will have opportunities for you to unmute yourselves and ask your questions. But good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're really excited to have you here for this session on the SPRA grants. So whether you're new to the application process or looking for additional funding opportunities, today's webinar will provide you valuable insights into the different grants that are available and their eligibility criteria. So our goal is to ensure you leave with a clear understanding of how these grants can support your programs and initiatives. We'll also have time for questions, like I said, so feel free to jot them down as we go, and we'll address them throughout the session. So let's get started. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that SPRA's programs, services, and support reaches lands covered by Treaties 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10, the traditional territories of the Cree, Dakota, Dene, Lakota, Nakota, and Sotos people, and the homeland of the Métis. We respect and honor the treaties and move forward with Indigenous nations in spirit of truth and reconciliation and collaboration. We're all treaty people. Our vision is a Saskatchewan where all people experience a better quality of life through parks and recreation. And our mission is to connect, educate, and inspire recreation and parks providers. So I also want to take a minute to recognize our funder, of course, Sask Lotteries. So through an agreement with the Government of Saskatchewan, proceeds from Sask Lotteries are dedicated to funding more than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation organizations throughout the province, helping nearly 1,000 communities improve their quality of life. We are the only province in the country who enjoys this level of support, and for that we are very, very grateful. To learn more about the lottery beneficiaries, as well as games, jackpots, winning numbers, and more, you can visit sasklotteries.ca. So to participate in today's session, we ask that you use the raise hand feature to ask questions. Like I said, we will have breaks throughout the presentation to provide an opportunity to ask questions. You can either unmute yourself, or if you want, you can enter it into the chat box as well. So you're welcome to turn your camera on or leave it off, whichever you're comfortable with. And additionally, you can modify your view to see all participants or just the speaker. And also feel free to use the chat feature to connect with your peers and share any relevant resources you may wish to share with others. So just quickly, today it'll be Brian and myself. So I am Casey Loshka. I am the Grants and Funding Consultant with SPRA. I've been administering a variety of grant programs for almost 6 years with SPRA. Before that, I worked with a Provincial Recreation Association and a Sport, Culture, and Recreation District, which gave me firsthand experience with the impact of funding at both the provincial and local levels. I love helping communities bring your programs to life and ensure you have the resources that you need to thrive. And I'll get Brian to introduce himself.
Hi there, my name is Brian Chamarny, and I've been with SPRA since October of last year. I've worked in recreation and in the recreation and sport field for over 15 years, probably a little closer to 20. Previously, I was a director and manager at the municipal level of recreation, handling everything from facility management, program development, human resources, budgeting, and including applying for and adjudicating grants. I've also been on various recreation boards over the years and previously sat on the SPRA Rec Section Committee for 6 years. Being involved with providing recreation to the communities I've served and the province as well, and seeing the successes along the way has always driven me and driven my passion to work in this industry. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. So we all know that recreation plays a key role in the lives of every Saskatchewan resident and should be available to everyone. So SPRA is here to champion our members and all you do to energize Saskatchewan and change lives. That includes providing grant money to help you do it. So in addition to some annual funding for provincial recreation associations and sport, culture, and recreation districts, we also have 4 SPRA grants available to active and associate members. We have the Parks for All Action, the Framework in Action, the Get Moving Grant, and the Training Grant. So previously, SPRA offered standalone grants, which included the First Nation Recreation Development, Métis Recreation Development, the Community Cultural Diversity Inclusion grants. However, these grants, along with the Forever in Motion grant, have been discontinued for this fiscal year. To better align with national strategies and policies, SPRA has streamlined its grant programs while ensuring that initiatives promoting inclusion remain eligible for funding through our grant offerings. This restructuring not only maintains support for these important initiatives, but also increases available funding. So applicants can now apply for up to $5,000 per grant, which is double the previous amount of $2,500, providing greater financial resources to enhance the community impact. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of how previously funded programs continue to align with our current grant structure. So the Forever in Motion program, which was previously funded through its own grant, would now be eligible under the Get Moving grant, specifically under Area of Focus 3, Public Engagement. This supports initiatives that reach individuals where they spend a significant amount of time, considering where they fall on the physical activity spectrum, and ensuring the programs offered are appropriate and accessible. Another example is an initiative that was previously supported through the Community Cultural Diversity Inclusion grant, so changing facility signage to be more inclusive. This now falls under the Framework and Action grant, specifically the goal of inclusion and access, which supports the priority of creating safe and welcoming environments for LGBTQ2S individuals. And finally, initiatives that previously received funding to create new recreation opportunities for First Nations and Métis communities can now be supported through the Framework, Parks for All, and Get Moving grants, depending, of course, on the nature of the project. So a great example is a wilderness workshop or a land-based learning program, which aligns perfectly with the Parks for All grant under the Collaboration Strategic Direction. So by streamlining our grants, we're not only ensuring continued support for these valuable initiatives, but also providing greater flexibility and increased funding to make a bigger impact in our communities. So I'm going to turn over to Brian. He's going to now take you through these specific grants and note other changes to our granting criteria. He will also touch on a couple of other important funding opportunities that SPRA has available that you may be interested in as well.
Excellent, thanks, Casey. I am just going to share my screen here. Can everyone see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Thank you, and thanks to all of you for being here today. As Casey mentioned, we have 4 grants available to our active and associate members: the Parks for All Action, Framework in Action, and Get Moving grants, and a training grant. These grants, with these grants, some changes recently occurred, and we'll get into some of those specifics as we move forward in the presentation. The Parks for All, Framework in Action, and Get Moving grants all have 2 intakes. The first intake this fiscal year was this past fall, and the next one is this spring, actually opening tomorrow, April 9th. The deadline for applications for these 3 grants is May 28th. We're offering 2 intakes in our fiscal year, giving members 2 opportunities to apply for funding. This approach provides greater flexibility, allowing you to apply at a time that best aligns with your planning and program delivery needs. We can better support our members in running initiatives throughout the year, ensuring funding is available when it is needed most. It's important to note, though, that there are 2 application opportunities. Members are only eligible to receive 1 grant per year. Also, the training grant, which opened on October 1st and closes June 1st. So that is just a couple months away. We have been accepting applications anytime through that period. We will not approve retroactive funding. So we encourage you to apply at least 4 weeks before the training starts to allow administration time for the grant. Just talking a bit about eligibility now. SPRA active members are eligible for funding. That includes municipalities, provincial rec associations, Métis Nation of Saskatchewan, tribal councils, regional parks, and urban park authorities. New this year is associate members are eligible for funding. This includes any organization that is interested in the objectives of the organization. To be eligible for funding, you must be a registered nonprofit, registered charity, or school. Applicants are eligible for only one SPRA grant per specific initiative each year. All applications and follow-ups are to be submitted on our online grant portal. For individuals facing physical or technological challenges, we offer help with alternative forms of application submissions, such as offline or oral submissions. So if you are interested in some help like that, feel free to reach out to myself or Casey. I'll now share some information on each of the specific grants. I encourage you to check out our website for specific criteria for each grant and a link to access our online grant portal. And I'll just pause here for a second to see if there are any questions, or if anything's been put in the chat, Carolyn.
No, there's no questions, Brian, in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Let's get into the grants here. The Framework in Action grant aims to support SPRA member initiatives that advance the goals and priorities identified in the Framework for Recreation in Canada. Initiatives will show alignment with one of the goals of the framework and can be local, regional, or provincial in scope. There are 5 key priorities of the Framework in Action grant. So goal 1 is active living, which is fostering active living through the life course, through physical literacy and play. Goal 2 is inclusion and access. This is to increase inclusion and access to recreation for populations that face constraints to participation. Goal 3, connecting people in nature, to help people connect to nature through recreation. Goal 4 is supportive environments, ensuring the provision of supportive physical and social environments that encourage participation in recreation. And goal 5, which is recreation capacity, ensuring continued growth and sustainability of the recreation field. Applicants can apply for grants to a maximum of $5,000. Some examples of the projects we funded in the past are youth camps and programming like wilderness camps, also learn to play programs. We've subsidized local programs to reduce barriers to participation. This could be through cost or something like that, offering kind of a free program. Indigenous traditional arts and crafts program, and teepee and medicinal teachings program, as well as strategic planning sessions for boards. Gender inclusivity initiatives, which included changing signage in a community facility, community assessment survey, and also a local sustainability plan was also supported through Framework. And again, I'll just pause here to see if there's any questions on the Framework grant. None?
No, and there's no questions in the chat either, Brian.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I just can't see the presentation screen outside of what I've got on mine here. The Parks for All Action Grant is a commitment to the National Parks for All Action Plan and aims to support efforts that achieve the Parks for All vision. Efforts can be local, regional, or provincial in scope and should highlight how people will be engaged and the long-term benefits that are expected. There are some specific strategic directions for this grant. Activities should address at least one of the Parks for All strategic directions. These 4 directions are collaborate, which is nurturing partnerships, developing and implementing strategies, connecting through raising awareness, story/history telling, and facilitating parks and nature experiences. Conserve, we're talking expanding and enhancing park spaces and protecting valuable spaces. And as well as lead, which is building future leaders, developing tools and systems, and supporting opportunities for Indigenous peoples in parks and traditional lands. I encourage you to check out the website for specific criteria for each strategic direction, particularly for this one, because there are so many opportunities through this grant. Once again, like the last grant, applicants can apply for grants to a maximum of $5,000. And so, some examples for the Parks for All Action Grant. Opportunities that have been supported are the story stroll through the park, contracting someone to develop a disc golf course, the development of interpretive signs, a variety of workshops including tree planting courses, irrigation workshops, and planting for low maintenance gardens, as well as communities in bloom workshops. Does anyone have any questions with the Parks for All grant? Okay, hearing none. We're going to go on to the third of what we would call the big three here. The Get Moving grant. In pursuit of making physical activity available and valued for all people, the Get Moving grant aims to support the principles identified within the report, Common Vision for Increasing Physical Activity and Reducing Sedentary Living in Canada. Let's get moving. This is also known as the Common Vision. Initiatives will align with one of the areas of focus of the Common Vision and can be local, regional, or provincial in scope. The Common Vision is a new collective way forward that will guide the country towards ways of increasing physical activity and reducing sedentary living. It is a national policy document that is intended to move the country. There are 6 key areas of focus for the Get Moving grant. Focus 1 is cultural norms, which is establishing movement as a social norm through shaping public attitudes, creating fundamental change, and importantly, inspiring play over screen time. Focus 2 is spaces and places, physical environments that support all forms of movement. This can be through the design of spaces and places, developing culturally relevant spaces, and support for active transportation. Through Focus 3, which is public engagement, it is urgent to drive public engagement through programs, messages, and campaigns centered around creating the national initiative to move more and sit less. Focus 4, partnerships. It is essential to work together by creating shared narratives across organizations, collaboration across various sectors, and coordinating policies and strategies. Focus 5 is leadership and learning, which is to build a robust leadership and learning network to help people build capacity, which can be done through influencing education curriculums and providing practitioners and volunteers with the best practices and training and professional development. And finally, the last focus is progress. It is important to know what is working, speaking to prioritizing data, good monitoring tools, and research. So it's a whole large spectrum with the Get Moving grant. Again, grant applicants can apply for up to $5,000 on this. Some examples, some activity that could be eligible for this grant are Forever in Motion programs, a wellness expo, strategies that support strength and fundamental movement skills across a spectrum of ages, activities that provide new experiences and promote health through movement. This is a new grant, and several exciting applications came in this past fall for some really good programs. A couple of them were, one was a curling clinic initiative that aims to engage newcomers in winter physical activity. And a second one was improving access to skating program that included a skate library on site for those that don't own skates of their own. I'll just pause here if anyone has any questions on the Get Moving grant. I'll stay on that screen. Okay, let's move on to the training grant. The training grant aims to enhance local skills and qualifications by supporting recreation leaders, volunteers, and staff in accessing training that equips them with the knowledge and abilities needed to effectively manage safe, efficient, and engaging recreation and parks facilities and programs. This grant provides funding for skill development in areas critical to effective management of community recreation facilities and programs, such as facility operations, program coordination, safety standards, and inclusive programming. Eligible training could include certifications in facility management, program development, budgeting, risk management, and leadership in recreation. Applicants can apply for grants to a maximum of $2,000. Travel expenses can be covered at 50% per training event, up to a maximum of $1,000. Facility costs for hosting learning events are not eligible through this grant. However, things like leadership development workshops, leadership development workshops like strategic planning or board development workshops are eligible under the Framework in Action grant, under the goal of recreation capacity and the capacity development priority. So under that priority, you would be able to get some of the funds available for hosting a learning opportunity. Some of the examples of activities that have been supported include aquatic leadership, pool operators, arena operators, high five training, SPRA Spring Symposium, SaskFit, fitness leadership, pesticide applicator training, and ball diamond and sports field maintenance. And just to let you know about a couple more opportunities through SPRA. Skating and curling facilities play a crucial role in fostering lively, engaged, and interconnected communities in Saskatchewan. These facilities play a critical role in the health and wellness at a time when it has never been more important. In recognizing the escalating operating costs communities and organizations face, over the last 3 years, SPRA has partnered with the Government of Saskatchewan to offer the Community Rink Affordability Grant, otherwise known as CRAG to some people. This grant is now closed for the year, but I can report that over 370 communities and organizations were supported this past year. We also offer a Future Leader Scholarship Program. With the Future Leader Scholarship Program, SPRA is committed to supporting the next generation of recreation and parks leaders. We're focused on growing diversity, perspective, and contributions in the industry. SPRA provides post-secondary funding for youth ages 18 to 30 experiencing barriers to educational attainment. This is done in part to ensure the recreation industry remains a relevant and attractive employment option. Those enrolled in full-time or part-time post-secondary studies through a recognized or registered Canadian education institution with a program focus on any of the following: recreation, community development, active living, tourism, horticulture, or recreation facility management may apply. This opportunity opens in February and closes the end of March. So this actually just closed last week. Up to $3,000 per approved application is given out by SPRA annually. And you can connect with us on our socials. We're on a variety of platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So feel free to check us out on any of those forums. And finally, if there's any questions, feel free to contact Casey or myself. We strongly encourage all applicants to consult with SPRA prior to submitting an application. If you require more support during the application or follow-up process, reach out at any time and we can support you through it. Thank you. And if you have any questions, we can answer them now, or if you wish to reach out to myself or Casey at some point, you can do so. Thank you. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to can unmute yourself, or you can put them in the chat and we can answer them now if you like.
Yep, Holly?
Just wondering, when you talk about at some point in one of the grants, you were talking about things that could be a provincial initiative, and I'm wondering, thinking about our age-friendly communities that we work with, if we applied for a grant, can we use that grant in, say, 5 different communities to provide a workshop on fitness for older adults or something of the sort? Can it be used like in different communities, or does it all have to be used in one chunk in one place?
Yeah, so all of our grants are available provincially, regionally, or locally. So certainly something that is like for multiple communities could be eligible under our grants.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Trina?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I just had a question for the last grant you were talking about, the motion. Well, I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, if we're a rec, if we have numerous facilities throughout the town, like say we wanted to, get moving. Thank you. Say we wanted to host like an aqua fit at the pool, and then like the curling in the winter and that kind of stuff, like how to's and then equipment with it. Would that be something that's eligible? And or would the outdoor, you know how there's the outdoor exercise equipment that you can get? Would that be eligible, or is that considered capital?
Yeah, so I would say the outdoor playground, like not playground, but the outdoor fitness equipment would be considered capital. But hosting multiple physical activity opportunities in different facilities could be eligible in an overarching initiative to get your community moving more. Like, I think you would have to strategically write your grant application that it is one program in getting your community moving. And these are the different ways we're going to do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But reach out, like once you get a better, like once the grant is launched, if you want to reach out to Brian and I with a specific description, and maybe we could help you with that, or once we see applications come in, we do review them, that if there are any questions or something's not clear, we certainly make sure we reach out to people before it goes to the adjudication committee so that we're able to speak to it as well if someone else has questions about it once the application is being reviewed.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. So I'd say if there are no other questions, I don't see any. Carolyn has posted a link in the chat to all of our grant brochures, which provide a little bit more information on the eligibility criteria for each of the specific grants. But feel free to reach out, like Brian said, to us at any time, and we can certainly talk about a specific program that you have in mind and how it might fit into which grant, even if you're not sure which grant might work. That's what we're here for, to help you determine which might be a better fit. But if there are no other questions, I would say thank you so much for coming today, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.